Yeah, Hare Krishna, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you on this, yeah, like cloudy Sunday. So here in Delhi, it's cloudy little bit. I think in rest of you might be in Bangalore, so weather might be sunny. But yeah, very nice weather here. So let us start by invoking the blessings of the Acharyas. Om Gyanati Minandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktaranda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, so yeah, first of all, I would like to just ask if anybody has any questions from last two sessions. So we have had two sessions from myself, my humble self, and we have had two sessions from Garang Prabhu, and we have had one session from Amog Leela Prabhu, and Radhavati Prabhu is also doing these sessions simultaneously on Sunday 10 a.m. and Friday 9 a.m. So basically, till now, what we have done is in these two sessions, we have covered the preface introduction. So basically, yeah. So till now, what we have in the last class, we covered that why spirituality, that why do we need spirituality, and we covered five main reasons. And one of the main reason was to understand who we are actually, what is our identity, and basically there are multiple concomitant factors which get addressed when we understand our identity and when we perform on that platform. So one of the factor which gets addressed is this fear. Just a second. Yeah, so because when we understand that we are servants of Krishna, Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nityadas, and when we perform our life according to that, then our basic just a second. Yeah, so when we understand our real position, real identity in relationship to God, and when we serve God, then we experience a divine connect, and when we experience that divine connect, we basically come out of those coverings. We because we understand, we come to the platform that we are a spirit soul and we are not the body. And actually the fear is there because there are coverings on the soul. So there are subtle coverings which we are carrying from multiple past births. And because of those coverings, we identify with multiple things. For example, Arjuna is also identifying with multiple temporary identities. For example, he's a as we discussed in the last two sessions, that he's identifying with his teachers, he's identifying with his grandsons, and he's identifying with his other family members, grandfathers, Bhishma, Drona, everybody. So because of this identification with temporary, we also start projecting our consciousness on them. And because of those temporary misidentifications, there is a conflict which appears in our heart, which is actually temporary, but because of our misidentification, that conflict appears in the heart. And then we discussed that how we can resolve our conflict by acting in our eternal relationship with Krishna, by understanding our identity and acting in that relationship. So that was covered in the previous classes, as Garam Prabhu mentioned, that if you understand these two words, change and identity, then you can understand entire Bhagavad Gita. So in the battlefield also, Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjaya that what happened on the battlefield. And we can see the anxiety of Dhritarashtra, why he was so anxious, because he was attached to his sons, which was actually a material attachment, which was on the temporary plane. So any attachment which is on the absolute plane, for example, attachment to God, attachment to other things, which always remain there, which always remain constant, and which we carry from this life to to the next life. So there are certain things which we carry actually from this life to next life, and there is a life beyond this life. We will study in the second chapter that we are actually spirit souls who cannot be destructed at the time of death. Na jayate na mriyate va kadachin. So we are indestructible. We cannot be killed by sword. We cannot be burnt by fire. We cannot be moistened by water. But we, like, nobody can kill the soul. But only this body can be destructed. So when we die, basically our only it's only a change of bodies. So the spirit soul remains the same, and it gets carried away into the next body which we are designated into. So that's how we understand that there is something permanent, and there are many temporary things which are there here today, gone tomorrow. So right now they might be there, but tomorrow they might not be there. So they might change. But there are some things which are there today also, and which will remain the same tomorrow and in the subsequent years also. So like that, we understand and we try to discriminate what is matter and what is spirit, what is eternal and what is temporary. And then we learned this shloka also from this second chapter, that this that the sadhus who are interested to know about absolute truth, they focus on the eternal aspect, and they don't focus much of their consciousness on the temporary. Nasate vidyate bhavo na bhava vidyate sata ubayor abhitrishtantvas tvaninos tattva darshibi. So you can refer to the summary. Tanusha is doing a great job by creating summaries for these sessions. So you can refer to the summary of the first session, and there you can basically find this reference of the words of second chapter. So yeah, so till now we have understood this is the need of practicing spirituality, that there is something eternal which we need to understand and which we need to know about. And once we understand this eternal thing, and when we act on that platform, then there are many other dualities which can be taken care of. For example, we can get out of our like anxious situation. So anxiety, trauma, uh, and stress, these are created by a fear of change. So when there is a change in our situation, then basically these anxiety, fear and trauma comes into picture. That's what Varang Prabhu told in the first session. So these things can be taken care of if we act on the spiritual platform and feel a divine connect, and then there is a reciprocation of God with us, with our hearts. And within that reciprocation, we will understand that there is an eternal relationship which we have with God, and that relationship will carry us through the thick and thin of this material life. So that is the goal of life, actually. That if I ask you that what is the goal of life, what is the purpose? Can anybody answer, like, what is the goal of life? Yeah, this is a question for all of you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
The goal of life is basically to serve the Supreme Personality.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. Yeah, so as Bharti said, that the goal of life is to understand reality. What is reality? Because this book is also known as Bhagavad Gita as it is. So to understand reality as it is, that is the goal of life. So the reality is that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, and there is a God. And as spirit souls, we have an eternal relationship with God. And when we act in that relationship, then we feel spiritual happiness. We feel positive energy. We feel a lot of satisfaction, attention, and yeah, different people might have different purposes. And if you take a look at the lecture which I have uploaded on my channel on YouTube, so there is a session on introduction which talks about various faiths, that different people have different faiths, and those faiths are according to their modes of nature. And because of those modes of nature, there are different things which can be understood by those people. For example, we have we have Islam, we have Christianity, we have Sikhism, and finally we have Hinduism. Specifically within Hinduism, there is Bhagavad Gita, and then there is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the highest literature. So all these are bona fide religions which are given by bona fide personalities who were devotees of the Lord. For example, Prophet Muhammad, Jesus Christ, all of these personalities are mentioned in scriptures. So these personalities have given their entire religion. So according to the receptivity of the audience, they are giving religion. So for example, in Christianity, there is 10 commandments. So these 10 commandments also, they are given by Jesus Christ himself. And these are actually uh, provide the foundation upon which you can build upon spiritual life. And in Islam also, like in Quran, Prophet Muhammad talks about ruh and compassion. Even they read namaz because so that they can cultivate compassion. So there are, like, if you see, all the religion will talk about this cultivation of compassion and cultivation of love for God. So this cultivation of love for God is actually our uh, that is the goal of life for each living entity. That's what scriptures say. That I'm just repeating the scriptures. So how to basically within Bhagavad Gita, we will, like, today we will talk about dharma. So last time, I think today Tushar is not here, but he brought up this question that what do we mean by dharma? And yeah, just I'll share this. And what does dharma means? And what is religion? How does it relate to religion? And his question was more about, like, his understanding was that dharma is something which we cannot separate from something, and dharma is what sustains us. For example, sugar is sweet. Like, sugar, dharma is to be sweet, and you cannot separate sweetness from sugar. Similarly, salt is salty, so that saltiness cannot be separated from salt. Similarly, us living entities, service is our dharma. So to serve somebody, that is our dharma. So either we are serving our family members, managers, or our senses, or we serve God. So that is actually the dharma of a living entity, to serve God. Jivere Swarupe, Krishna Nityadas. We discussed this in the last session also when I was answering Tushar's question, and then this theme came up that what is dharma actually, like how to perform dharma, and there are different views and different perspectives of different people. And then this like we discussed about these four principles of religion, four legs of religion. So I will just shortly, like, tell this story, which is in our holy scriptures, that after Mahabharat, basically, Parikshit Maharaj was ruling. Parikshit Maharaj is the grandson of Arjuna. So Arjuna's son was Abhimanyu, and Abhimanyu's son is Parikshit Maharaj. And Parikshit Maharaj was the last ruler in the Dwapar Yuga. So we will see that there are four yugas: Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, and then finally next cycle. So this is the cycle of four yugas. So what Parikshit Maharaj sees is that his kingdom is very, like, godly. It is God conscious. For example, in case of Maharaj Yudhishthir, also he's a God conscious ruler, and that's why, like, there was no dearth of any grains or any milk or any animal resources. So the kingdom was flourishing like anything. The cows were wetting the fields with bags of milk. Like the entire fields were wetted with milk. These days, like, cows give maybe 2 liter milk, but those days maybe 20-30 liters they used to give one cow. So the kingdom was flourishing so much because of the God consciousness of Maharaj Yudhishthir. So similarly, Maharaj Parikshit is also coming in the same lineage, and he was also a God conscious king. So what he sees was, like, on the periphery of his kingdom, he sees this personality known as Kali, and he sees that this Kali is beating a bull, which is actually Dharma personified. So this personality Kali has cut the 3 legs of the bull. So bull has 4 legs, and 3 legs were cut by this personality Kali with his sword, and the fourth leg was the only survival. So the bull was tottering on the fourth leg only. So this marks the starting of the Kali Yuga. That Kali has entered the kingdom of Maharaj Parikshit, and he has destroyed the 3 legs of Dharma bull, and only the fourth leg, which is represented by the principle of truthfulness, only on that leg the Dharma bull is tottering. So Parikshit Maharaj just encounters like Kali, and Kali he could have like counteracted or attacked Parikshit Maharaj, but actually Kali surrendered to Parikshit Maharaj, and that's why Parikshit Maharaj did not kill him. So, and Kali actually he told that I want a place in your kingdom. So right now I can't reside anywhere, and I want to have some place. So Parikshit Maharaj told that wherever this illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling is happening, there you can occupy space. But still, Kali told that in your kingdom there is no such place, so I cannot go anywhere in your kingdom. But wherever Kali went, like these four principles started flourishing. So yeah, so this was the story. This is in detail given in Bhagavatam, one of the holy scriptures, uh, which our acharyas have given. So yeah, so each of the leg of the bull is represented by one of the leg of dharma. So we had this discussion in the last session. Just a second. Yeah, so we had this discussion in the last session that 4 legs of religion are austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. So austerity means basically austerity falls at the end of Satyuga. So at the starting of Satyuga, all the 4 legs of religion are intact, but at the end of Satyuga, people are not able to perform nice austerities. And their propensity to do tapasya and penances, they are not able to do so much. Because, for example, if we talk about sages in Satyuga, Valmiki, or like if you know Valmiki lived for like 1 lakh years, and out of the 1 lakh years he performed austerities for 10,000 years. So such a like potency and such power sages used to have in Satyuga, but that power reduced by the end of Satyuga. So in Treta Yuga we are there with 3 legs, and at the end of Treta Yuga the mercy is gone. So mercy represents like compassion for living entities, that God has given life to so many living entities, and so we should be compassionate onto them. So especially, so that's why this meat eating and killing of animals, that is directly against the act of compassion, because God has given the uh, the life to every living entity. So we have no right, we have no right to take the life out of them. So by the end of Treta Yuga, mercy also falls. So people are not so compassionate. And by the end of Dwapar Yuga, cleanliness falls. So the relationships are not so pure. So in Mahabharata, we see that the relationships are not chaste. Like pure relationships don't exist. So and in the Kali Yuga, we are like tottering on the truthfulness platform. And by the end of Kali Yuga, even truthfulness will be gone. And then it will be important to reinstate this cosmic manifestation. And then Lord himself will come as Kalki Avatar, and he will reinstate the Satyuga by killing all the demoniac kings and by reinstating the devotees and making them kings. So yeah, so that is, these are the 4 legs, and this is the like reality. And actually in every yuga there is a yuga Avtara also. So here in this you will see that in Sat Yuga there were 4 Avtaras which came: fish Avtara, tortoise Avtara, boar, and Narsimha Avtara. So Narsimha Avtara is the man lion, and Varahadev is the boar, and tortoise is the kurma, and fish is the Matsya Avtara. So Narsimha Avtara was the Yuga Avtara for Satyuga, who saved Prahlad Maharaj from the clutches of Hiranyakashipu. So yeah, and in Treta Yuga, the Lord Ram was the Yuga Avtara. So in Treta Yuga, Lord Ram came to kill Ravan, and in Dwapar Yuga, Krishna was the Yuga Avtara, and Kali Yuga there is a hidden Avtara, which very few people know. So we see that in every yuga there is a leg of religion which is falling, and then there is a person who reincarnates, who is ordained by the god and who is mentioned in the scriptures, who tries to propagate the yuga dharma. So there is with a yuga avtara there is a yuga dharma also. So by which yuga dharma means anything which you can practice in that age so that you can realize God very very easily. So in Satyuga, कृते यध्यायतो विष्णु त्रेतायां यजतो मकय द्वापरे परिचर्यायां कलौ तद hari kirtana. So in Satyuga, the recommended way of self-realization is meditation on Lord Vishnu, and in Treta Yuga, the recommended way is to do elaborate sacrifices. Tretayam yajato makai. Makai means sacrifices. Dwapare Paricharyayam. So in Dwapar Yuga, the recommended way is to do elaborate deity worship. Dwapare Paricharyayam. Paricharya means worshipping the deity forms, Vigraha, Archa Vigraha. And Kalautad Hari Kirtana. And in Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is to chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So there are like multiple names of God. There is Vishnu Sahasranam, there is Narsimha Kavacham, there are multiple names. Like according to the pastimes which Lord does, there is a new name for the Lord. For example, Madhusudana, Giri Govardhari, and there is Rishikesh, and then like we will see, like even Arjuna also addresses with multiple names in Bhagavad Gita Arjuna. And the special thing in Bhagavad Gita is that Arjuna is addressing Krishna according to the situation. For example, if he is feeling burning in his senses, he is addressing Krishna as Rishikesh. So he is like mocking Krishna, that you are Rishikesh, you can provide satisfaction to the senses of your devotees, you can provide satisfaction to the senses of the cows. So I am feeling so much burning in my heart, in my senses. Please provide satisfaction to me. So like this, so and if there is any doubt in his heart, he addresses Krishna as Madhusudana. So Madhu means doubt. Madhu is a demon who represents doubt. So he's saying that I am getting this doubt, so you kill my doubt. So Arjuna has this loving relationship where he is like joking also with Krishna, and very very nice like transcendental conversation is going on between Arjuna and Krishna. So where Arjuna is addressing Krishna by various names. So this is the like summary of dharma principle which we discussed last time. And as we are relating to understanding our identity, so when we follow these four principles of no intoxication, no illicit sex, no meat eating, and no gambling, then and when we chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or basically whatever process is prescribed for that yoga, when we follow that, then we can act on the spiritual concept. So then we can basically live our life which is dedicated to Brahman realization. We can understand that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, and then we will be able to harness unlimited amount of positive energy. Purnamritam swadanam. So Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So everything can be conquered. So the only problems which we have in this material world is because of our mind, our conditioned mind. People are agitated. There is lust, greed, and anger, because of which wars are happening. Ukraine, Russia war. Because of this, our hearts are not happy. The leaders are not happy. They are not satisfied. They don't basically understand that how to harness positive energy, how to give protection to their subordinates. They don't know that. But people like the acharyas, for example, rulers like Maharaj Yudhishthir or King Parikshit, they used to be like perfectly God conscious, and they had a very nice relationships with brahmanas who had dedicated their life for God realization. So like this, basically, like there was a Vedic system, and people used to understand that what are the advantages of this Vedic system, and how we can harness more positive energy and realize our actual position with respect to God, and then perform our duties and live our life in that way. Yeah, I think we have quite a lot of questions from Vaishali. Okay, sure. Yeah, Vaishali, I would like, yeah, if you can read your questions, it will be nice.
Hey Vishali, are you able to stay a few more minutes? We can actually address your question now. Yeah, why don't we go ahead and address it, Rajat? And I think she can always catch up on the.
Yeah, so sorry, yeah, I was just about to, yeah, drop off. Sure, of course, I can stay here for a few minutes. Thanks, Kiran. And thanks, Rajat.
Yeah, so Rajat, the question is, how do we know how intrinsic nature is to serve? If yes, why doesn't it come to us naturally? And why do those who serve and help others still suffer? Why is the serving not always reciprocated?
Yeah, yeah, nice. This is very good question and very challenging question. Yeah, so we have to like somehow, so proof of the pudding is in the eating. So when we start, because by default, like we have a subtle body and we are carrying some impressions from our previous births, but very small things which we like, we should continue doing those things. So ultimately we are serving somebody, like even if we are getting happiness from food, that is also like service of our senses. So there is a purpose to eating food, right? When you eat food, it solves three purposes. It gives you energy, so the body is nourished, you feel nourished, and then your hunger is diminished. And then the third one is you are basically your tongue is satisfied, right? So eating food is actually serving these three purposes. So indirectly, you are actually serving while eating food also. You are serving in these three ways. You are trying to satisfy your tongue. You want to nourish your body, and you want to satisfy your hunger. So indirectly, if you see like this, even in Google, if you are working, if you are a employee, you are given some projects. You are made to do some service. So even in Google also, we follow this servant leader model. That one who is a good servant, he becomes a leader. So this philosophy of being a servant is very, very prevalent in our corporate world also. And one who serves nicely, he becomes successful. He grows. It's not necessary. Like obviously there is politics also, and all that stuff is also there. But servant leader model is followed in like multiple companies. So like that, when we try to go deeper in our life, and when we try to understand things, what gives us nourishment and what gives us sustainability, and even in our families we can see this, that how we basically how we make a good deep relationship only when we understand the other person's strengths and weaknesses, and then we live with him with her according to those strengths and weaknesses. So when you are like your thought processing going in that direction, then indirectly you are serving that person. So that's what I wanted to emphasize, that behind every act which you are doing, there is a service indirectly involved. Yeah. So does that answer Vishali a little bit?
Yeah, sure, Rajat. Thanks. Yeah, I know, but I just feel that say you were saying right. If sugar is sweet, it'll always be sweet. You can't. It is the natural flavor. So I was just yeah. This is sometimes what I wonder that if this is what our natural, whatever like role is, then why don't everybody why can't everybody identify it equally? Some people are probably more inclined towards serving no matter what they are serving to. Some people don't get it that easily, and then sometimes I've seen some people who are really helpful uh, still suffer. So I'm like, if they are already playing their role as it's supposed to be, then why the misery? And
Yeah.
why is their helpfulness not reciprocated? uh,
Yeah. So that's a separate question. I think a similar question you asked to like a couple of sessions back also. So this service, yeah. Yeah, so one point which was coming to my mind is like different people have different propensities. So that's why like this varnashrama system is also there. Some people don't like to serve, some people like to be controller. So they are also actually serving their false ego there. So they are Kshatriyas. For example, Arjuna, Yudhishthir, they also wanted 5 villages when this Mahabharata was starting. So that, you might say that why do they want 5 villages? Like they should serve. They should serve whatever like Kauravas or Dhritarashtra. Why are they wanting 5 villages? But according to your propensity, you have to serve. For example, Kshatriya has propensity to control. Vaishya has propensity to produce food grains and take care of animals and do mercantile businesses. And then Shudra is serving all the other three things. Yeah, Kshatriya is doing administrative service. Yeah, we'll keep discussing that. Yeah, Sahil, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question here. Like as you mentioned about the corporate job, right, and to whom we are serving, right? So as a fresher, right, we never have an option in which team we are serving or which manager we are serving. Same in the in the real world as well, right? Like our birth is not in our control, and in the initial 5 years or 6 years, we are not in the consciousness as well, like what we are doing, what we are serving to, right?
Yeah.
So even the base point is not equal for everyone. So
Yes.
even in a new life, my base is not from the scratch. Everybody is starting at some other point, which may be partial from God's side, like, because everybody is not at a 0 point, because your surrounding defines your future growth as well. And as a fresher, we never have that option as well, right? Even as a new life, we never have an option like how like how's our surrounding are actually. So how do you define this? Why everybody is not getting a scratch as a 0 point, so that I can grow from that point, and that depends on anybody's actual consciousness, because we complain about things like what happened in the past. You are getting a birth depends on that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, because a similar question was asked to Amog Leela Prabhu also, and he told this only like, so we have free will, but our free will is limited. So there are certain things which are already determined by God. For example, our parents, the body which we are going to get. For example, as you are telling that first 5 years, whatever environment we are getting, we don't have any control over that environment. So those things are basically preordained by Lord, and that is because of our like past, whatever past baggage we are carrying, or whatever past pious plus impious credits we are carrying in our subtle body. That like higher authorities decide these factors based on these two things. So that's why this Varnashrama institution is also there. That nobody is equal, but everybody is equal. So so this is a contradictory statement, but we have to understand with a broad minded that basically different people have different propensities, different environments, and different like surroundings, different association in which they develop different sanskaras. And like according to that, we have to tap that propensity and then motivate them. For example, if a manager has 10 subordinates, and then like different developers have different propensities. Somebody might want to become a front end developer, might want to become an architect, somebody might want to become back end developer. So like that, he's just promoting the propensity of that developer, and like that they are growing in their career path and so spiritually also, like we have certain propensities in which if we are encouraged, we grow forward. But yeah, nobody is equal. Like we are coming from our past lives, like whatever we are carrying, because proportional to that carriage we are having the fixed things, for example our body and parents. Yeah.
So in any of the scriptures it mentioned how to reset thing from the zero, like uh, is it mentioned anywhere like how to get that reset point, or it will happen in any of the another yuga where everybody will start from the scratch, right? uh,
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's why you will see in the second chapter that when like after discussing everything with Krishna, Arjuna just surrenders in the seventh verse, and then Krishna smiles. Okay, now you are surrendering. So now the relationship changes. So actually that is the reset point.
Okay.
When you find a guru and when you understand that you need a guru, and then when you surrender to that guru, and then guru starts actually resetting you. So it is said in scriptures that when you surrender, or when you are officially connected to a bona fide guru, all your sinful activities are taken up by Krishna. So this is the actual process, and you are an actual aspirant of this knowledge, because you are asking this question, that how to reset your life, and this connectivity with the higher personalities who know God. That is the reset actually.
Yeah. It makes sense, Rajat. Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks. Good, nice question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Vaishali has left, but yeah, she always have good questions. Yeah. So
Rajat,
yeah,
there's one more question from Vaishali. If you want to also address that, or you want to keep it for the end.
yeah, the vegetarian one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, even like I was discussing with Tanusha and Tushar also regarding this vegetarianism. So the question is, I'm a vegetarian, but people often ask me what that we also know plants are living beings too. Then are we not consuming life? They ask that just because plants don't bleed, does it give humans to take their lives? And is there really a difference between those who meat and those who eat meat or those who don't? Yeah, this is a very pertinent question. And yeah, so basically, God has created everything for a purpose, right? So I will give you the example of a cow and a calf. So generally, people say that we should not take milk from cow, and because if we take milk from cow, then what will the calf drink? Because the main purpose of the milk coming from cow is to feed the calves who are their children, and this is a very like pertinent topic. But actually, in scriptures, it is written that if the cow is giving 5 liters of milk daily, only 1 liter a calf can drink. And if he drinks any further amount from that 1 liter, the calf will die. So by default, cows are meant for that. That rest of the 4 liters have to be used in other service. Either you offer it to God, or you take it yourself. So that's why this like what this is going on, right? Which I'm forgetting the word, but those people who don't take milk products. So we need to come back to scriptures. Yeah, yeah, vegan, correct. Vegan is that word. So basically, that's why we have to come back to scriptures and understand things in right perspective. For example, trees, whatever fruits they are giving, they will fall. Actually, they are meant to be consumed by others. So when we are consuming the fruit, or when we are consuming the vegetable, they are actually the byproducts of the tree. We are not harming the life of the tree when you are consuming the fruits or vegetable, which are the byproducts of the tree. So that's how like nature has made everything in that way, that everything has some purpose. So trees are meant for that purpose, to give these grains and vegetables, fruits, and they are not consumed by themselves. And trees have life, but if you take vegetables and fruits, that is of no use to them actually. So entire tree is one soul, right? And just by consuming vegetables from that tree, you are not harming that soul. Actually, if you offer that vegetable to God, then actually that tree is benefited. So in Bhagavad Gita, you will see that there is a plate that if you do a lot of illicit sex, then you will become a tree in the next life. So there are different grades of species. There are 8,400,000 of species, and basically out of those 400,000 are human species, and these are the top of this funnel, 8,400,000. And below this, there are animal species, and then below animals there are trees, and below trees there are like aquatic animals who are like further down. So these trees, this is a very difficult position actually, because they can't move. In summer also they have to stay as it is, and in winters also they have to stay as it is. They have to tolerate all the 4 seasons. So if you do like a lot of illicit sex, then your freedom will be curtailed actually. Yeah, and that's why these four regulative principles are also known as four principles of freedom. Actually, more and more you abide by these principles, your life will become more and more blissful, more and more free. You will become totally free. Yeah, Kiran. Go ahead.
Rajat, and from what you mentioned that we can become tree in the next life, from that hypothesis, then that means trees have souls.
Yes,
Okay.
that was the Bose experiment, right? Like JC Bose finding in 1940s, he passed electricity through plants, and he detected some vibrations in the plants. So plants have everything. Like they have soul, they have emotions, feelings, and you can feel them actually. When if you are fond of gardening, you can feel it.
So then, Rajat, in that sense, then we shouldn't be eating any plants where we uproot them, right? Because in
Yes.
a way, you're killing that soul.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like spinach or maybe any kind of leafy vegetables that we pluck out from the root. So, I guess.
Yeah, that's why we offer. Yeah, yeah. This is a good point. That's why like Jainism doesn't eat even carrot and radish also, because you are uprooting the entire tree. So yeah, I will come back to you on this point, the root one. But generally, the principle is this, that they are meant to be offered, and they are meant to be used in our service. So in scriptures also we'll see that the lower species are automatically, they are consumed by the higher species. But yeah, I will come back to that, the root one. Yeah,
Thank you, Rajat.
yeah. Thanks. So any other questions on this? These are interesting topics. And people say that if you eat vegetarian food, you will not get sufficient in nutrition. This is all a myth, actually. Like if you eat paneer, if you eat milk products, and like there are like 56 items which are being offered in Jagannath Puri to Lord Jagannath. So those all 56 items are supremely delicious, more delicious than the meat items. So these basically your life, when you understand the Vedic scriptures, and when you basically live your life like that, then there is no dearth of nutrition in vegetarianism. Actually, your food will become like a feast basically. So yeah. So it said na, that in spiritual world every step is a dance, and every meal is a feast, and yeah, so every day is a festival. So like that, we slowly we will understand these things. Yeah. So anything else which needs to be addressed from the question which Vaishali asked, or what should we do?
I think we are good, Rajat. We can proceed.
Interested. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but of course,
yeah,
folks on the call have other follow-up questions to what Rajat just mentioned. Just feel free to unmute and ask, because I
yeah,
think we want the session to be interactive. So if there's any other doubts or questions you have, just feel free to ask, or just drop it in the chat box. In the meantime, I think Rajat, you can of course continue.
yeah, sure. Yeah. So I think we have discussed that why should we read Bhagavad Gita, and Amoglila Prabhu has also talked about that, and I have also discussed about that in the previous session. So this request was there that we should understand that how we should read Bhagavad Gita, because everybody might not be able to relate to Bhagavad Gita every time when he reads, right? So there is a particular lifestyle which we can adapt, and then the Bhagavad Gita will appeal more to us, because Bhagavad Gita is a Vedic book. So it requires some stability in our consciousness to understand this book. So few things we have discussed in the last session also, that some amount of open-mindedness, broad-mindedness should be there. For example, there is an intrinsic factor of trust and faith in today's society. For example, if you are going to a barber, some saloon, then you are trusting that barber that barber will cut only your hair, he will not cut your neck. But actually there is an element of risk that he cuts your ear or neck. There is 5% or 10% chances. So you are putting an intrinsic faith and trust in that barber. And similarly, as all of us are discussing, as Sahil also told, that when we come into this like world, first 5 6 years, we don't have any control over the circumstances, and whatever society imposes on us, we do like that. For example, if society says that IIT is the best, go to IIT, then we go to IIT. We don't question that why IIT and why IIT is the best. So all those questions we don't put. So similarly, when you basically start learning Bhagavad Gita, we should try to understand and try to have trust and faith that so that is called basically some acceptance, some submission, and then there is a scope of understanding God and Bhagavad Gita. So that is the first factor, humility and submission. And yeah, second one is, as we have discussed in today's session, that four regulative principles, if we can follow to some extent, at least no meat eating is the first, which all of you, I would like that to follow. And so that will help us to cultivate a soft heart, compassionate heart. And this God consciousness is more about a process of heart, like soft heartedness we have to cultivate, as we see that whatever we do to cultivate this God consciousness, for example, taking God's names or serving the deities or serving the devotees, so all these things softens our heart, and it brings in a stimulation and positive energy within our hearts. So these four regulative principles stimulates that softening of the heart. And one is basically, as all of you must have heard, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So we might read Bhagavad Gita, but we might not be able to relate to it, and that is because of our maybe some our consciousness is not so elevated. So the best way to elevate our consciousness is to go to bed early, like no later than 10 or 10:30, and then rise up early in the morning, whatever time suits you, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Try to put a benchmark and then try to improve that, because morning time is full of mode of goodness, mode of transcendence. And then when you cultivate that routine, you rise up early in the morning, you take bath, and then you can read one or two shlokas by yourself, you can read the purport, then I'm sure that you will be able to relate to it. So there is a particular lifestyle we can follow, and that lifestyle will help us cultivate mode of goodness, and that will uh, give us a hand in connecting with the divine. And then finally, the association of devotees. So we should read scriptures in the association of devotees, and we should hear in the association of devotees. So hearing in the association of devotees is very much recommended, because devotees are those who have an attraction for knowing this knowledge. So this eagerness and receptivity is required. And initially, when we are in the very beginning stages, this eagerness is not so much, because we are not able to relate to it so much. So that's why we have to take association of devotees who want to learn and who are at a higher stage, and we should hear from them, and together also we can hear from some other person, so that will also help us uh, reinstate our faith in God. So this is very nice. And actually these are termed as this is the ABCD of Bhagavad Gita, basically God consciousness. A for association. Association means whom you are associating, like friends and uh, colleagues, whatever. So you should associate with good people who are interested like you in seeking God consciousness. And then B for books. So you should read books which basically helps you to cultivate that God consciousness. And then C for chanting. Chanting means you can take some God's names. Somebody listens to like Gayatri Mantra, somebody listens to Vishnu Sahasranam. But the recommended process for this age is to chant the like Hare Krishna mantra, which I chanted in the starting of this session. So like that, you can chant any God's names, and God's names are full of positive energy, because God name is actually non-different from God. Like in scriptures, it is said that God Himself exists. कहते हैं ना कि हरि से बड़ा हरि का नाम. तो जो हरि का नाम है, that is bigger than Hari actually. So because Lord also exists in His names. So C for chanting and D for diet. So diet means at least have a vegetarian diet. And eventually, slowly, we will learn in Bhagavad Gita also. In the third chapter, we'll see that ultimately we should offer whatever we are taking, because whatever is given to us is given by God. So we should offer something to them. For example, if we are employed by Google, then we know that everything is given by Google. So we should give something back to Google. Like we should do some creative project which should be useful to them, and give it back to them. So similarly, on this thing also, on God conscious platform also, we have to understand that everything which is given to us is given by God. So we should give some portion to him and then accept the remnants from that. Yeah. So this ABCD is nice to assimilate and to internalize, and that will help us to read Bhagavad Gita and understand. Yeah.
Hey, Rajat, are you following the presentation?
No, actually not. So this
Oh,
presentation
because
was
your
on.
slide. Okay, that's fine. I thought maybe it was stuck, but that's fine.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, this presentation was just for understanding the Dharma principle. So I thought I will take help of this deck. Yeah. Yeah, so we can conclude. If any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we can conclude today. Yeah, Anjan has a question.
Yeah. So I have two questions. One is a simple one, and the other is a slightly probably a long one. So the simple question is: so you mentioned like everything has a dharma, like sugar's dharma is to be sweet, and humans' dharma is to serve. So I was wondering, what about animals? Like, what is the dharma of an animal? Like, is it like it's a conscious being, and therefore that also has a something similar to human? So that's what I wanted to check. Yeah.
Yeah, very good question actually. So these are topics which, so these questions are helping all of us to understand this matter. Yeah, so basically, it is said that animals don't have any free will. Like as humans, we have free will, and that's why if we are not able to follow dharma, then we are just like animals. It is said that also in scriptures. So what is that verse? आहार निद्रा भय मैथुनाम च सामान्य एतद् पशुभिर्नराणाम धर्मो ही तेषाम एको विशेषो dharmena hina pashubhir. So this is the verse Bhagavatam, where basically in human form of life we have free will. We have, God has given this intelligence to discriminate that this is right, this is wrong, we should do like this. But animals don't have this intelligence or discrimination. So what happens is actually this cycle of action and reaction and the papa karma, punya karma, all this holds true for the humans, and this doesn't hold true for animals. So if animals, suppose a dog bites you, he will not get any sinful reaction. But if you kill a dog, you will get a sinful reaction. So that is the reality. And your original question is that, can you repeat the original question, that by animals?
Yeah, my original question was like, so in that case, what is the dharma of an animal? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so dharma, the question of dharma comes when you are able to discriminate, when you are able to like choose that I don't want to follow this, I should follow this. And that choice is not there in animal form of body. So that's why there is no like, so that's why the scripture says that dharmena hina pashubhir narana. So without dharma, human beings are like animals. So there is no dharma for animals.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Um, got it. So that means like just like the nature of sugar is to be sweet, similarly, whatever behavior we observe in the animal, that's what we can say is their dharma. I mean, that's their nature. That's their purpose to be like what they are. Basically.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Thanks. And the second question I had was that so as you mentioned, right, when one understands that like one must submit to this higher form of God. I mean, that's when they like instead of serving something else like their senses or they ultimately once they submit, that is when they go to a different state, and then the higher power also reciprocates, right? So this understanding is something, for example, I'm like because I'm listening to this session, so I'm getting it. people who have been exposed to, let's say, the scriptures or the Gita, they would know it. I'm wondering, how about people who do not have access to such resources, right? How would such people be able to get to a state where they know that, okay, this is the right way, this is what I should be doing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you should assimilate this knowledge and then distribute it to others. That's why we have created this like forum, and Kiran has put so much energy in like creating so many forms and filling out those forms from all of you. So yeah, I think that's why our foremost duty is to assimilate this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and once we receive it, and then we can give it back to others.
And I think curiosity is the answer of this. Like human is curious to know new things, right? Like we don't know about the finance or economics, but when we have money, we try to know how to invest it. Similarly, whatever the positive energy we are getting from our surrounding, it's the curiosity where we can invest that and get more energy as output. So I think uh, that's the only thing I think we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, Anjan, actually the same question I asked when I met my Shiksha Guru for the first time 10 years back. And he gave me the answer what I am giving right now to you. So you can give them, like, you can pray for them, you can be compassionate to them, you can give them prasadam. So like this, the spiritual life starts. Like if anybody, you can attend some Sundarkand part, you can attend some Ramcharitmanas part. So there the Sukriti starts. So somehow you have to create this Sukriti, the Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti for others after you assimilate and internalize yourself. And keep attending these sessions and you will understand, you will get the answer to this question. Yeah. Hi.
Got it.
Got it.
Thank
Yeah, great questions, and then yeah, thanks a lot. Okay, so we'll call it a day. Thank you very much, all of you, for attending this. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Rajan.
Thank you.